Trump administration is trying to get rid of the, that most popular part of Obamacare, which is pre-existing conditions. They're trying to sabotage that and get rid of the coverage for pre-existing conditions, which hasn't. But they're mostly been talking in the news about, the G7 conference, how Trump acted, and about going to Singapore and all that stuff's like taking up most of the airtime on the news. And healthcare, I mean, it's like my friend from Fort Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale rather, he's like, the hospitals down there will kill you. He's like, make sure you're in good health before you go down there on vacation or something, because he acted like half the doctors and nurses were on drugs and drunks and everything too, and don't ever have surgery in the Miami area. But he's from Springfield, Illinois, downstate capital, so he complains about that too. The hospitals will kill you down there too, compared to up here. But I would hear that stuff in Richmond. I would hear good stuff about VCU Hospital, Medical College of Virginia, and then they had wonderful, healthcare there. And then I heard other people say, "Oh yeah, I went in there and came out with some other disease," or had bad experiences with surgery. So I think that's pretty much a worldwide thing that happens. Coming up here on Manheimer Road, we're almost about 95% there. So your flight was at 5 o'clock?
Board's around 5.
So you've already done the check-in online and all that?
Yeah.
Those are carry-on bags, so
yeah.
You didn't have to check those in.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, it's just the security part that you never know if it's going to be a long line or not. And usually when it's really congested, they loosen up on the restrictions. They'll like not when it's been backed up, and then they'll just start telling everybody you don't need to take your shoes off and all that stuff.
I got flip-flops on and I'm ready to roll right in and out of that thing. But yeah, the line can take a long time.
They were just showing that on the news last night, like a 97-year-old grandmother in a wheelchair, where her like daughter and son-in-law filmed it, where they took her because she couldn't go through the X-ray machine or whatever, and so they took her off to one of those rooms and then did all that pat down and everything in the wheelchair, and then they're commenting like, "What do you think this 97-year-old woman's going to do? Have a bomb in her socks?" And they're sitting there commenting on saying stuff like that on their phone video and then posted it to YouTube or whatever. But anyway, it's just so ridiculous. And I have 2 cousins who've been flight attendants before and after 9/11, and they're just like, this is, it's security theater, as they call it. And it even hassle flight attendants sometimes too. Most of the time they have the credential that they can just, whip through there, but
I get felt up a few times a month.
Pardon me?
I get felt up a couple,
really?
2-3 times a month.
Because you don't go through the X-ray machine, or?
No, because I do go through it, but it just shows up with some boxes down in that area.
Oh, okay.
Like once it showed up with a couple big boxes, and the guy's like, "What do you got down there, man?"
Yeah, they start.
And I was like, "Good genetics."
They start. Yeah,
made the lady blush, and
Yeah, I've had like where they're like, you have something in your pocket. I'm like, no, I don't. And then like at Richmond Airport, I'm wearing like jeans. Like the only metal on there is the rivets, you know. And are sure your pockets are empty? And I have like pull them inside out, you know. And they're doing the hand wand thing. And I mean, I just don't understand, you know. And then other time I've accidentally left stuff in my pocket. And then it didn't go off. And then it just started off. And then they show every once in a while on the national news, usually like where they do those tests, where Homeland Security tests, you know, the security personnel with fake bombs and stuff, and like 80-90% of the time the fake bomb gets through. It's just so, you know, and I've read articles where they say like, why don't we do like they do in Israel, where they've had decades of experience of, you know, worrying about terrorism way longer than us, and how they, you know, they read all the license plates are all scanned before you even get into like Ben Gurion Airport, like you know, a mile or more on the access road. Your all license plates are scanned, so they already know who's driving, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And they go much more off of the behavioral metrics, which they do here too. But so we're talking about that with that regarding that woman in the wheelchair yesterday. But you know, how people act, and facial cameras are watching your facial expressions, and you know, kind of all this facial recognition software they have these days, where they are, you know, realize that they're not just looking at your face, they're looking at your body language and your facial expressions, and any kind of tension on your face, which you're going to be a lot of tension on their face at an airport, from my experience. But
yeah, not everybody's comfortable flying.
And
so
that too, yeah, very nervous about flying.
I wonder if that would throw some bells
was,
off for
yeah.
him.
I always had to get drunk before I got on a plane when I was younger, which they say is not good for you, because then you supposedly makes you even more ill-filling, gives you more of a hangover or whatever. You shouldn't really drink on a plane. But I have a problem with heights and everything, and so it just would like freak me out getting on a plane, you know, to take off and landing. Mostly the takeoff. But from what I read, like in Israel, they'll pull, if you act weird when you first get into the terminal, based on what they're seeing on camera, and then all the undercover cops and everything in the terminals, that you know, if you act abnormal in some way, they pull you to the side and start, you know, looking at your ID and stuff, and then if you still continue to act weird, and then they start, you know, they'll pull you into a room and interview you and where are you going. And certain, of course, they do profiling, so certain nationalities, they are going to get racially profiled. But they suppose they don't do all the crazy, you know, pat down stuff and take your shoes off and all that stuff. They don't, I think even now, they don't even bother with that stuff, because it doesn't really...
I guess it was kind of cool. I got a paid-for trip to Israel once. Did the whole Gaza trip tour thing before I even had a passport.
Really?
I was in the Navy, though, so I guess that's a little...
Did you go?
Yeah. We did a med cruise, so we stopped at quite a few spots around the med. See there. This was back in, I guess, 99, 2000.
Yeah, I saw a show on Israel a couple of years ago, and how it's really changed a lot. Just even like how they've changed the
You have an incoming call.
How they've changed the landscape of the country with all the artificial irrigation and everything.
To answer a call, push your voice command button.
can take that if you want. I don't mind.
Yeah, I can get that later.